fun fact of the day, Brad Keselowski has never lost a Daytona Duel as a team owner. That's right, RFK, the first time they get on track, well, other than the Clash of the Coliseum, the first time they get on track for a regular season race, for the qualifying races, the Daytona Duels, which have been run forever now, RFK swept them. Brad Keselowski won the first duel. Chris Buescher won the second duel after a last lap crash. And believe it or not, this is not the first time I'm saying this as I look at the TV and they're dragging his car off the track. Joey Logano, what are you doing? It's the duels, okay? Anyways, yeah, in case you missed it, the 2 Daytona Duels tonight, they happened. They set the lineup for the Daytona 500. The front row stays the same as long as they don't crash or anything, or as long as they start. So Larson and Bowman will stay on the front row, but row 2 will consist of Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher, the 2 winners of the duels. First duel was pretty uneventful, pretty tame, which honestly should be expected for the duels. It's a qualifying race for the biggest race. You don't want to wreck your car, destroy yourself, hurt your chances at the Daytona 500, the big race. So, you know, nothing, especially with a brand new car that was not rushed, but it was very close on time in terms of the supplies, and it was built. And then also, some teams don't even have backups because they're on such limited supplies for the next-gen car. So, you know, it's not really worth the risk. And so the first duel, there were no big risks taken. There were no big incidents. Heck, it went caution-free, actually. And so the final lap, it was 4 cars. It was Brad Keselowski, Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney, and Chase Briscoe. And honestly, something we learned from these dual races that 4 cars can actually hold their own at a super speedway at Daytona. There was about 7 or 8 Chevys and Toyotas chasing down the Fords, the 4 Fords that I just mentioned, and they held their own for the most part when they were in a straight line, when they were together. They didn't fall back. They didn't lose time. Usually it would be the more cars, they would close in pretty rapidly, but there was no really rapid closing until the last lap when there was some more aggressive moves being made. They kind of broke up a little bit, and that second group still didn't even close it in by a ton. They only cut it in by 1 to 2 seconds, I want to say, but teammates did not team up. Ryan Blaney and Austin Cindric did not help each other, really. Chase Briscoe didn't help them, obviously, but Brad Keselowski didn't really have to block too aggressively. He didn't have to make any aggressive moves. He just kind of let everyone else kill each other's momentum, and Brad Keselowski won the first duel. Very big win for him, very big win for RFK. Their first checkered flag together. Yes, it's a Daytona duel. Yes, it's a qualifying race, but you still get a checkered flag. You still get a trophy, so big day for them, big momentum day and confidence building day for them as well, just from Duel 1. And then we go to Duel 2, and their second driver wins. Chris Buescher, he's been at Roush for a couple of years now, won a championship with them in 2015. But yeah, Prosper, Texas, beating up on the field. You love to see it. But yeah, he got himself a dual win, his first dual win. He has 1 Cup Series win back in 2016 at Pocono. But that race, it was tame for the most part, but just like the first race, 4 cars at the end out front, and they were holding their own. No one was really chasing them down. It was Joey Logano, Chris Buescher, Michael McDowell, defending Daytona 500 winner, Michael McDowell, and Harrison Burton, the rookie, and it got a little chaotic on the last lap. But this one ended in a little bit more disaster, you could say, with Joey Logano leading the way. And Joey Logano, he just admitted on TV, he said that he made a mistake and he didn't think the run would come that quickly. And Chris Buescher got a nice little run exiting turn 2, went to the bottom of the track to pass Joey Logano. Logano quickly responded, going to block Chris Buescher, and they made a little contact. Buescher's right front to Logano's left rear. It sent Logano sliding. Buescher had to dive down to the apron. It resulted in Logano crashing into the wall. His front end is all crumpled up. He was also hit in the right or left rear by Harrison Burton, so Harrison Burton got a little bit of damage. McDowell and Buescher went away without much damage. and Buescher was awarded the win. He was ahead of McDowell at the time of the caution, and he ends up winning the second duel. So RFK swept the dual races. How about that? Ford looked really, really good in these dual races. As we talked about yesterday, Chevy, Hendrick Motorsports especially, dominates the qualifying portion, but Ford and Toyota have been winning the Daytona 500s, the actual races, as Hendrick Motorsports. Chevrolet hasn't won. Chevrolet hasn't won since 2018 with Austin Dillon. Hendrick Motorsports hasn't won since 2014 with Dale Earnhardt Jr. But yes, the Fords looked really good tonight. Penske, even SHR at times, and RFK especially sweeping the duels, being up front when it matters. Obviously, the big show is on Sunday, but the other guys to qualify for the Daytona 500, we saw Jacques Villeneuve and Noah Gragson qualify based off their speed last night. Tonight on the race, we saw Keselowski Grala make it in on a last lap pass on J.J. Yeley. Grala had been actually a lap down. He had been behind Yeley for a good chunk of the race after having a speeding penalty and losing the draft. I felt like that was a very common theme tonight. We saw a lot of guys lose the draft, not just small teams, but some big teams too. Custer, Almirola, Reddick, some of these bigger name guys. It seemed like it was a little bit easier to lose the draft, but we saw, as I said, Keselowski Grala, the last lap of the race, he was able to, get back into a small drafted group of cars, and Yeley was kind of just abandoned on the top, and Grala was able to pass him on the last lap to get into the Daytona 500. So Floyd Mayweather's car is in the Daytona 500, and then the other car to qualify was Greg Biffle, and he had no problems. I love Timmy Hill, but they were multiple laps down early, and Greg Biffle just had to not crash or have an engine blow, and he was going to make it. So from that standpoint, Greg Biffle made it in without problems. But Keselowski Grala, he had his problems. He rallied back and literally came down to the last lap, and he was able to rally and do just that. So, yeah, the Daytona 500 lineup is set. The inside and the outside rows are all set, as I said. Hendrick Motorsports on the front row with Larson and Bowman. But in the races, in the duels, we saw Keselowski and Buescher winning the dual races. They will be on row 2. Big start to the season for RFK, for Brad Keselowski as an owner. A big confidence booster for that team. You love to see it for them. But it'll be interesting to see how Sunday's race goes. As I said, the Fords looked really strong tonight. Not too many aggressive moves made tonight, so maybe we didn't see everything we're going to see on Sunday, but we did see Joey Logano be his normal Joey Logano self. And, well, that's because, he's Joey Logano. He did talk about earlier this week, they were asking him, oh, it's the next-gen car, it's a new car, the teams don't exactly have that many cars ready. Are you going to be a little bit less aggressive in the duels? He said, I'm still going to race 100%. It's a race, not a sit back and relax and watch each other drive. And, I'm all for racing, but sometimes it's not worth the risk, and this seemed like one of those times. It wasn't worth the risk. So Logano, I don't know where he's starting, but it'll be interesting to see where he starts on Sunday and if they can repair the car, and I believe they have a backup car, so they might have to go to the backup car, but it'll be interesting to see if they can repair that car. But your dual winners, Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher. Anyways, that's all I got for tonight on the Daytona Duels. The race is on Sunday. That's the big one, the Daytona 500. We'll talk about that. I'll give a preview of that on Saturday probably. We'll see how that goes, but I'm really excited for this one. First race in the next-gen car.